What? He got rid of it?
Hey, good morning, everybody. How are we doing today?
Good morning.
A little bit of music from the Road Crew, roadcrew66.com.
Good stuff.
I was really honored that they would do this for me. Have a nice theme song. Those guys are, it's road trip music, that's for sure. Got some great, two great fellas here, depending on who you talk to.
Where?
KC Keefer, kind of a well-known photographer and videographer. Got a great series out in Hinckley. Delvin Harbour from California Route 66 Museum in Victorville and California Historic Route 66 Association.
Yes.
So we should have a lot of fun this morning.
Yeah.
We always find things to beat our gums about and get this thing going. So how are you guys doing this morning? Good?
Yes, sir.
I'm doing great. Great. Yeah.
You drive up from Needles this morning from Fenders in the dark, but it was a good drive. Beautiful morning.
Just us and the truckers.
That's right.
Just a couple things I wanted to bring up to speed. We're a few minutes early here, but you might have noticed that our electric vehicle museum got some international attention. The Peterson Automotive Museum has donated about a dozen vehicles to the collection.
Wow.
And that was picked up by Hemmings Motor News. And Spanish, I got word this morning that a Spanish automotive publication and website and blog has been posting some information on that.
Awesome.
So we've got quite a few things going there. See if we make this work. This is our first public debut of the Mevo system. See if we can enhance the programs a tad bit and make this better. And so I guess we'll start with Mr. Delvin here. This thing's in Victorville, or as I used to call it, Victorville.
Yeah.
Another story for another day.
Right.
Doesn't seem to be moving over that direction.
Well, it's going good over in the high desert of Southern California. I don't know. Do you want me to just say a little bit of what we're doing?
Yeah, we've got Andy Sampson would be a good one. Andy, I would like to introduce you to Delvin here this morning. Andy is our archivist at the Mojave Museum of History and Arts.
Oh,
He's
awesome.
watching us this morning.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
Well,
based on my videos.
I'm involved with the California Route 66 Museum in Victorville, volunteer and docent, and so that's a neat experience, meeting people from all over the world coming into the museum all the time. And then also I'm on the California Historic Route 66 Association board. Actually the vice president of East, so that covers from Needles to the Cajon Pass. We have vice president for East, Central, and West of California Route 66. So definitely Needles is one of my areas, and I love visiting there and staying at Fenders River Road Resort. It's a great place to stay, and neat meeting place to meet people traveling the road like Casey and Nancy. So
Yeah, Needles, you know, I mean, they need help.
yeah,
They really do. Rosie's down there at the Fenders is probably one of the best places.
it's
It's the place to stay there.
yeah, I think so.
Rosie's a great host and always makes the visit fun and pleasant.
And today's her birthday.
Yeah, really. What's your birthday?
Rose's birthday.
Del and I ate at a little donut shop down there in Needles yesterday that's been open for a few months. Mom makes the donuts fresh every morning. The daughter runs the the shop, and it's got a nice little 50s feel to it. And be sure and stop there when you're going through. It's right off the Santa Fe Park there, which is the Garces.
It's on Route 66.
It's on Route 66, and man, I tell you, homemade donuts every morning.
They were good. So a new business there, right there near the El Garces. It's great.
I mean, it is a tough town because of partly the layout. It's split up quite a bit, but it's I think, you know, just like a lot of Route 66 towns.
Victorville is another one.
They all face the similar challenges, but I think they're going to survive.
Well, you know, of course, the big pod industry thing now is,
Of course.
you know, it's gonna.
I got to make a clarification because I know there was an article written by the New York Times last week or something about the number of shops there, and what you have is a border town. What you have is a similar situation like you have with casinos.
Right.
And when you enter Nevada, I don't care what road you're on, there's a casino right there. And it mostly serves out-of-state people, and so that's what we have in Needles. I think it'll shake out, but it'll also always be serving the fine people of Arizona.
And Nevada too.
In Nevada,
I guess
same thing. So eventually, hopefully, it shakes out.
Yeah.
The funny thing about it is it has created somewhat of a housing demand in an area where there just wasn't that for the last 50 years. So there's positives that come out of it, but you know, 5,000 people in Needles are not supporting 4 pod shops. It's mostly out of state. So just wanted to make sure that because that wasn't mentioned in either of the stories. I want to just speak up for the people.
Get that in. Yes, a lot of good people there.
Yeah, there really are some tremendous folks in Needles. It gets a little frustrating, you know, with the politics things.
Yes.
But
everywhere.
Yeah, you know, that's a problem. Pure and simple. It's just the way it is. But Needles is shaping up. Now the old Claypool store down there, is that still empty? The big Claypool store down there? That's a big building. It's kind of like our central commercial.
Oh, is it? I'm not familiar with that.
The museum there recently had to put a roof on.
Right.
I mean, it's hard to.
Well, they're upgrading their lighting right now.
Yeah, that's right. And they're doing their lighting as we speak. And
so
it's a great little museum.
I was able to get in there the first time yesterday, even though they were closed, but Casey had connections.
Needles Regional History Museum, I believe.
Yeah. And they have a thrift store that helps fund their museum.
You've got a great event coming up down in Needles.
I do. With the California Historic Route 66 Association. Save the date. It's Saturday, February 2nd, and it'll be 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. We're having a Route 66 information fair, concentrating on California, but we're open, and hopefully, Jim, you'll be able to be there as an author and be a part of our event. So it'll be in the El Garces Harvey House there, and all are welcome. So if you're in the area, come on by there and check it out.
Well, we'll definitely try to be down there. As far as I know, I don't see anything preventing me from doing that.
Okay.
Or death or accidental dismemberment.
Yeah.
I don't plan on those kind of things very often. So.
No, hopefully not.
Good. So that's on Saturday, February 2nd.
Yep.
I'll have the information up on the website.
Thank you.
Before the end of the day, we'll get that on.
And we'll have more information on our website and also on Facebook pages for the California Historic Route 66 Association. So
very good.
Getting the word out.
KC, what have you been up to? Have you got any more video projects in the works?
I did Nancy and I together did almost 50 genuine Route 66 little hit and run vignettes of people, and I sometimes feel discouraged when I publish them and they don't seem to I don't know, attract as much interest, but I'm constantly reminded that there's many more to do. I finally we finally filmed Tony and Cindy out at the Jackrabbit. They were on my list at the very beginning 5 years ago, and we just didn't get to them. And the other day we were shooting across from Albuquerque, and we caught them, and so look for that one.
Awesome.
I filmed Rosie last spring at Defenders River Road and Needles. So I think I'm going to try and do some more of those. I did the 4 films. We did the 4 unoccupied Route 66 films, and we're still having fun promoting California because the California Promise, which is this one here, and you know they're DVDs, and I know there's particularly young people are like, what am I going to do with that? Because I can't play it. So they're kind of, it's an archive, and they still sell. We've shipped to 7 European countries, 38 states. And they'll be around forever, and you know, people are buying turntables, so I don't think DVDs are going anywhere either. More difficult to play on your laptop, stuff like that. But anyway, enjoy doing that. I'm trying to make them available through a lot of museums. You mentioned the Mojave; they have some. Delvin Museum in Victorville sells them, and Needles, and all along the road, actually, mostly in the west, which is where I spend a lot of my time. Actually, the Missouri Association, Route 66 Association, has been a huge supporter. They probably sell more than anybody. And places like the Blue Swallow Hotel and actually the Jackrabbit, which seems like the ideal place to sell the painted as a trading post video. Better stop me, Jim, because I'll keep going.
And no problem. People are probably glad to see somebody else beat their gums beside me for a while. Yeah, the video, you know, that what you just said about the DVDs, though, that's endemic to the whole thing. What we're doing today, trying to figure this Mevo out and to do different things. The technology things are changing so rapidly, it's difficult to stay in the saddle.
Yeah.
But it opens a wide array of doors. We've got an international audience with us this morning, and I mean, reaching an international audience sitting here at a coffee shop in Kingman, Arizona.
That's right.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I know everybody down at Needles still sleeping, so good to hear. Good to see you, rest of the world.
Yeah.
Well, an amazing thing with equipment like some of the things that's out there now, we can even make people think that we know what we're doing.
I know.
You can really give that impression.
That's great.
Most of my life.
Well, good morning, Wolfgang. Hey,
Yeah.
how is the museum in Victorville doing?
Museum is doing good. January this year, about a year ago, we had a break-in, and we got cleaned up, fixed up most of it, put back together. You know, it was a bad experience, but it got exposure, from a bad experience on news and on Facebook and everything like that. And we got donations of other, items and stuff like that, and just people donating, because we are a self-supporting museum there in Victorville. So, and a nonprofit and volunteer and all that situation.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it's great. Actually, this year, through the traveling season, we broke some records in bringing in, the income from donations and what we sell in our gift shop. So that was a very neat positive there. Something exciting with the museum happening in 2019. I don't know if you've heard of the Great American Race.
Yes.
Yeah, they're going to be their route to 2019 will be from Riverside, California, to Tacoma, Washington. So they're going north and south. They're taking off from Riverside, and at noon they're supposed to be stopping at our museum and checking in there, and we'll have food and vendors and things like that. It'll be an event. We won't have our car show that we usually have, but this will take place of that in June. I believe it's in June 22nd, but that'll be a great event, so put that on your calendars. And vintage vehicles, they're timed, and they check in, and they'll be staying overnight in Lancaster, California. So it'll be a neat event there.
Yeah, that's that came through Kingman a few years back. And
Yeah.
it's a great event.
It is.
Because these old cars, they make terrible coffee tables.
Yeah.
They're made to be driven. They're
Right.
made to be,
Yes.
and used. And
Yeah.
like Jay Leno does out there, and stuff.
Right.
That's one of the neat things about Route 66 too. You get a front row seat to a car show all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
You meet some of the most fascinating people
Yes.
with their old cars.
Oh, yeah.
About 2 summers ago, you can fill in the blanks on how old these people were. But I was over at Napa. I saw the old guy working on his car, and I went over to see if I could help. And it was a couple celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary. And when they got married, they lived in Virginia. Now they live in Florida.
Oh, wow.
And they had driven from Virginia to California, moved, it was part of their honeymoon,
Yeah.
with Airflow, Chrysler, and Airflow DeSoto, and a teardrop trailer.
Oh,
And they
wow.
were recreating that trip.
Really?
They were driving a DeSoto, a 37 DeSoto Airflow.
Oh my gosh.
And pulled a little teardrop trailer.
Oh, that's
And they
amazing.
picked up Route 66 around Oklahoma City, and they were headed
Yeah.
west. Yeah, just
Stories like that all the time. It's amazing.
That's what makes Route 66 really special.
Yeah, it is. It does. That's working at the museum. I mean, I meet people all the time. Stories like that. Couple they're in. They live in Southern California. The woman's mother and her grandfather. They took a trip back in 1934 from Detroit, Michigan, I think it was, area, to California to visit relatives on Route 66 back in 1934. A lot of it was still dirt and all that in a Model A, and her husband and her recreated that last year in a Model A.
Nice.
And she wrote a book on their experiences. I met her at the museum, and it was awesome things like that, and that's happened time and time again.
I would. That's on my bucket list. My mom said I was born 90, and I just never got any older. And when I was a kid, even as a teenager, I was hanging out with World War I veterans.
Yeah.
My first paying job, was with Ed Edgerton up at Ed's camp.
Oh, really?
And he'd come out there in 1919. And that's where I learned to be one of the dry roasted nuts. I mean, this cantankerous way of thinking. But I've had lots and lots of old vehicles. The oldest one I've had is a 1915 Dodge. And I never had the money to restore them. They were my drivers.
Oh, wow.
And for about 2 or 3 months, the only thing I had to drive back and forth to work was this decrepit 1915 Dodge. Judy and I, my dearest friend, that poor woman should be for sainthood, but when we were courting, I'd come in off the ranch and I had a 46 GMC pickup, and I had we double dated in a 26 Ford touring car. But a Model A somehow has escaped me. I've always wanted one.
Yeah.
New Route 66 and a Model A like Kevin Mueller has.
Yeah. Oh,
And wouldn't that be load that down with vintage camping gear and take as much of the old roads as you can.
Yeah, and that's what they did. They had, no doubt about it, they had their problems. They shipped the car back there to where they were starting, and it wouldn't start, but they were involved with the Model A Association, and they reached out, and some really great guys that knew the Model A's were able to help them figure out the problem, and so it's just a neat story of their recreation. It's really neat.
Okay, see, what kind of projects do you have going right now besides trying to eat and stay alive?
Because we're, I feel like I want to give a reporter an update on the sign offenders. There's been a lot of talk recently, if you watch Facebook, signs. People are very sensitive to neon signs and what happens to them, how we deal with them when places are gone. I just noticed the other day the LeBrun Motel from Needles. I was walking past the Algarces, and there it's sitting inside. I'm glad to see that was saved. The glass is almost all intact. It looks like it would be easy, not easy, nothing's easy.
No.
It looks like it would be doable and fixable reliable. Anyway, I think that that's a sensitive subject for a lot of people. We see a lot of those going into private collections, and that's probably what we favor the least. So here we are at Fender's a year ago, and they have an old motel sign that was repurposed from the Lad Motel, which that's what the property was named originally. It was converted just to motel, the Fender's Motel, Fender's River Road Resort. But the sign it's pretty simple. A lot of you have seen it. It's just a motel sign. So we started a private fundraising campaign for it, and I have to say the support's been tremendous. We've raised over $3,000, and our goal is around $5,000 to do a complete resto with here in Kingman, actually, with Matt Phillips at Legacy Signs, and we're anxious to get it up here. We're at the point where we're just about to do that, and with the help of John Fender, the owner, we're going to get it up here and get it fixed. It's great. You know, hats off to anybody running any kind of mom and pop business along 66 yes. or anywhere. It's a struggle, constant struggle. Yeah. But so it's hard to isolate something like your sign and say we're going to put all our money into that when there's constant maintenance. Right. So it's a challenge, and yeah. I have to say I'm proud of the fact that we're well on our way. I wish it was we were doing it today, fixing it today, but we're close. And
that's good.
With the support of great people,
right.
We'll hopefully get it done. So we'll keep you posted, and if it takes another year, it takes another year. But we're not giving up by any means.
Yeah.
Well, the Route 66 community is so generous. You know what we're doing here this morning. I've got a few sponsors for this. Cuba, Missouri, I work with them pretty close, but it's largely a crowd-funded situation. Right. But this equipment, you know, I'm not complaining at all. But this is about $700.
Yeah.
Play with this, and it'll enhance this. And the whole idea is to promote like sign project events, to give a venue for the Route 66 community. But they're generous. You know, when people are giving $1, $5.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it don't seem like much, but you start
it adds up.
Pooling resources,
yes.
we can accomplish a lot together.
Yep.
An awful lot. You mentioned the neon signs. You know, that's a hot button topic, like you say, because they're going into private collections, but that's better than scrapyards.
Right.
And that's where so many of these signs ended up. One of the signs that we have to restore, it's been sitting for quite a while. You've noticed it, Legacy Signs here in Kingman, is the Branding Iron Motel sign. Yeah. We found that in a wrecking yard down in Phoenix, Arizona.
Wow.
And the Branding Iron Motel is still here.
Yeah.
But it's a apartments now.
Oh, wow. And the sign ended up in Phoenix.
Yeah.
Wow.
Don't have a clue how that happened.
Yeah.
But Kate, now speaking of motels, now you've got a couple good motels there in Victorville.
Yeah. Vintage ones. In fact, it's not right on Route 66, but it's in the Old Town, and it's the Green Spot Motel.
Yes.
We have the neon sign in our museum. We were able to get that. They have a sign out there, a little more modern, but I've stopped by there several times. They repainted it. The owners have been putting some money into it and renovating the rooms. It's another vintage motel that you can stay at now, traveling Route 66. And then the new corral, which is up
that's the more famous.
Yeah, with the iconic sign, neon sign with the horse rearing up. They've been renovating their rooms, and I know several Route 66 roadies that have stayed there, and they're fantastic. So that's great to see that happening.
Yeah, it's that Green Spot. You know, that's going to take some work because it's been left alone for so many years.
Yeah, but they've been putting in interior. It's a classic mortar. They got a great guy. He was from San Francisco, but he's neat. I've talked to him several times, and he's been working on it, as he can. And they renovated the interior, like making a garden out of it, and it's amazing. So if you're in the area, check it out. Stop by this.
And great history. Of course, the restaurant and bar is gone now across the
Right.
street that was there.
Yeah.
That was a big hangout. People don't realize Victorville, you know, in the 20s, the 30s, 40s, and early 50s was a Hollywood West, if you will.
You're right.
Everybody, they're filming everything there, the Cisco Kid.
Yeah.
And
In the area.
the legend has it that the first draft for Citizen Kane was written there
At the green spot.
Yeah, green spot.
I believe, yeah. And there's some other famous person, Nyoka's Hideaway. I forget the whole thing, but it's famous for that. It was somebody who was writing a manuscript or something like that. So that's a part of that history there at the green spot.
Cool. Huge place.
Yeah.
There's a new place, I haven't tried it, but what is it, the La Mesa in Santa Rosa? It's supposed to have been
I haven't stayed
renovated.
there in
I've heard a
years.
lot of good about that
Yeah.
one now.
Okay.
The motels, of course, the Road Ahead Partnership has launched the motel edition.
Yes.
I don't know how that's gonna, I don't know, have a lot of details on that yet.
We're involved in it as the California Association, compiling a list of the vintage motels on Route 66 for that reason, to get a good listing, and if it all help with grants, or I guess to get the word out that these motels are there, and signs and all that, and help preserve them.
Well, that's the rarest thing we've got on Route 66 is the hotels are very endangered because, over the years they became farmhouses
Right.
and whatnot. And, supposed to go over to the Arizona end this morning. I understand they've been renovating that. One of the problems we have with downtown Kingman and a lot of the communities on Route 66 is we've got a renaissance that's taking place downtown Kingman, but we have no lodging. We have a Motel 6 in the Arizona end.
Oh yeah.
It's the only thing really within walking distance.
Wow.
Now this one dates back to the 1960s. This was a roadway
Oh, okay.
and restaurant, and I understand they put a lot of money into it. Wolfgang was actually asking me. I've been trying to catch up with the owners so I could get some photographs of the renovations and whatnot.
When it was that way, yeah.
Kingman is, we lost the Bell Art Motel, that beautiful stone one. They shouldn't have torn it down. The owners got in a tussle with the city, and they said, well, just to hell with it, we'll just tear it down. And it was livable. It was
Yeah.
a little motel from the 40s.
Oh,
But Kingman, I think, may have the largest collection of vintage motels of any community on Route 66 that's still viable.
wow.
The Siesta Motel dates to 29. We have an auto court. The White Rock Court is an actual 1936 auto court. The garage is still.
Yeah.
And it was the only property in Kingman that was listed in the Green Book with the Negro Motors.
Oh yeah.
And right next to it is the Arcadia Lodge, which is 1939. That was a resort in 1939. And then on the hill we have the El Trovador, which is 1939. And
Any word on the hilltop?
the Hilltop, I have not talked to the owners, but I see some activity there every once in a while. That's
Yeah.
1955.
Awesome. Good to hear.
And then the Astro Motel, which is the Orchard Inn now, that was a chain, and there's only a couple of those around left.
Oh, okay.
But that one's still pretty
Is that
intact.
a chain? I didn't realize that. So the one down in Pasadena? Right there?
No, the Saga was different.
No, not Saga. Down the street, there's an Astro. It's a wonderful.
It's a,
Really?
yeah, the architecture would be the same.
The
design
tiled
as-
wall.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Or,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's stayable, but
Right.
Well, that's always a challenge.
Right.
Some of these
It
things.
is.
we all have different levels of tolerance. I've been in situations before where I've checked in at a place, and particularly the Palms Motel down in San
We were just
Monica.
talking about that.
Dell and I were just talking about it the other night, and if you look on the reviews, they're colorful. But if you look at the place, it's a wonderful court. And the garage.
You stayed there.
With garage, I've stayed there
Yeah.
a couple times.
Yeah.
And geez, it was $100 when everything else was $300. But it definitely there's no pictures on the wall when you walk in there. It's pretty stark, but it had a great feel. It's got a really neat European feel about it. I don't know.
Yeah, they had a cart. They bring
They had
a
a
cart.
coffee cart that they push out into the alley in the morning, the percolator on it. And, just a neat feel, but at the same time, people are like, well, wow, look at the reviews, and it's like, we didn't witness any of the things you see online, but
Yeah.
you have to have a little bit of thick skin for that kind of adventure.
Well, that's one reason I talked to Kevin and Nancy at Blue Swallow quite a while back about this, and they were having some troubles because the motel has such good reviews, and then people were checking in and getting upset because they thought it was the Holiday Inn or something like that. And it doesn't matter how much money you put into a 1939 motel, it's not going to be the Holiday Inn. It's just not. It's an apples and oranges thing. So you're just not going to. I mean, some people will cry if you hang with a new rope, but some people are just, they get upset about it.
It's all over the place. Look at just down the street, David Brunner, David Amanda, they've resurrected that Leatherwood. And boy, those are like brand new. You walk into a brand new room, and you even get the 4 square pillows. That's how you know it.
Well, the Roadrunner is on top.
I've stayed there a couple of times.
David is a detail guy like you can't believe.
Inland Motel Safari is another that's done very well there.
Right.
We're seeing more and more of the motel. Has anything been done with the Green Tree in Victorville?
They did some renovations. They kind of, I don't know. They haven't done a whole lot. I mean, it's still there, but
I hate to badmouth any property.
Yeah.
But my dearest friend, we've stayed at some pretty marginal places. But that's the only motel I've ever walked into and walked out and said, hell no. I went down and demanded my money. It was.
Was that back in 2012 when we had the festival? Yeah, they had some problems, I guess. I don't know. Hopefully, I haven't checked in with them recently. I should. I know they repainted, the outside, the different paint scheme, and it's still there. They're doing business, and they have the restaurants. So, it's motels do that. They go through changes, and some for the better, some not. So.
Yeah, well, that's the evolution of this too. Is that these places, that's why the motels are so rare.
Yes.
They got bypassed by something newer. The highway changed. They became flop houses, and then they became eyesores, and then they vanished.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And it's that's what's. But we're starting to see a resurgent interest in that too.
Yeah, I think so.
When we're putting those back together.
Right.
I know Victorville. I joke about. For years, when I was driving back and forth, I avoided anything over the Cajon Pass, and I used to tell people I drew the line at Victorville and Hysteria. Those are the two places I drew the line. But it's been changing over that way.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Hesperia. I mean, they're building a lot more stuff nearer to the freeway, which covered up Route 66 in that area. But still, there's a great restaurant. Unfortunately, we lost the Summit Inn a couple of years ago through fire. But between there and Victorville, there's the Outpost Cafe at the truck stop there. Great cafe, and it would have been on near Route 66 back in the day. If you're go by there, it's a great little restaurant. So things like that. Imogene's, my favorite place. Yeah,
Imogene's,
Hollenberger Cafe. I take people there all the time. It's just a great place.
Get there early.
Yes.
that's a perfect example of never judge a book by its cover.
Right.
Very good. Guys, thanks for driving all the way up here this morning.
Enjoyed it.
Doing this. And
glad we were able to.
I got to play. These guys are so patient. KC's been doing this with me for a while since we started Mayberry Television about a year ago. We were over in Tucumcari, and we're trying to get better. We're trying to improve things, and as you can see from this morning, a couple little things. But overall, I'm kind of pleased with the way this is working out here. It almost gives people the impression I know what I'm doing and I'm professional. And if I did that, I didn't mean to. It was totally accidental. But God bless. Not bad for an Amish farmer.
There you go.
Figuring this stuff out. Guys, thank you so much for being
thank you,
today.
Jim.
We'll thanks a lot.
Have some fun. See if we can. If they want to donate, we can get some money for a sign down in Needles. How do we go about that?
Go to fendersresort.com, and there's actually a page there, and we try to recognize everybody that gives a cash donation. If you're called by, stop by and maybe buy a T-shirt from Fenders, and
they have a little
all that money goes to to the project, 100% of our donations. So we don't have any admin costs because we decided to do it privately. Actually, absolutely 100% of the money raised will go to the project. And that's hard to do, but it's working so far. Well, hopefully we'll.
And somebody you know did the website, redid the website for vendors.
Gosh,
Nancy.
Love of my life.
Yeah.
Did a new website for him, new logo. She's doing stuff for him all the time.
Yeah.
We did a little key fob that you get if you donate. And again, vendorsresort.com.
Yeah.
And you can find it there.
She's a talented young lady, that's
Yeah.
for sure.
Yes.
And she did some work for Blue Swallow too.
She's done stuff for her quite a few places. She even did the Wigwam Motel T-shirt that we don't see much, but I saw one the other day with the teepee and the starburst on it. That was a great design.
Was that hers? From San Bernardino?
Yeah,
I've got one of
and
those.
she did a lot for the Blue
Nice.
Swallow and
Right.
a couple other places along the road.
That's cool.
She's helped with Dells a lot, some of the other places. But anyway, it's been fun. Now you're covering up your books, Jim.
Not okay. It's okay. Well, for a good cause.
Thank you so
We'll
much.
get this out there.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you for doing this today,
Thanks, Joe.
and
It was a pleasure.
we'll do this again next week. And
Excellent.
we just keep making this better and better. Pretty soon we're gonna actually have.
Thanks for what you do for the road, Jim.
Yeah.
You do more than most of us, and we appreciate it. I think
Oh,
the
yes.
world appreciates it, and so we just want to say thanks.
Well, thank you guys, but it's it's a team effort. It really is.
Yeah.
If we didn't have, it's just a team effort. That's just all there is to it. If it
Right.
wasn't for the folks in Victorville,
Yeah.
All around the world.
Definitely.
From around the world.
Reese Martin says, give Spencer some pets.
Oh, thanks, buddy. Thanks, Reese. He's doing well. He's sleeping probably still.
Definitely.